Greetings you guys, and welcome to this new video series thing that hopefully will be just as exciting for you as it is for me. As you can see from the title, it is about pagan symbols and symbolism, and today we're going to talk about Celtic knots. So I'm going to cover what are Celtic knots, what type of Celtic knots are there, and what do they stand for and what do they represent. But without further ado, let's get right into this video. I have a lot to tell you guys and a lot to show you guys. And before I get into it, just another quick disclaimer. If you've watched my previous video, you already know, but in case you don't, Windolf was kind enough to sponsor this video, so the items you're going to see are produced in their shop. They are a sustainable pagan jewelry company. They also do wood carvings and furniture. Oh my gosh, the furniture, you guys. And I'm going to show you things that I was sponsored, but also things that I've purchased with my own money over the years, because I've been shopping at their store ever since I was like 15-ish. So I have a lot of things, and you're going to be able to tell the jewelry items that are shiny new are the sponsored ones, and the ones that are kind of not so shiny anymore are the ones that I've been having for over 11 years now. So what are Celtic knots? A knot is a symbol that is very often found in Celtic history. Not only in Celtic history though, because the knotwork patterns have been there before the Celts. There are a lot of things that a Celtic knot can represent. It's, I would say, in a way, always a little bit up to your own interpretation of what you want to see in this knot in general. Paganism is a lot about how you feel about things and how you connect with the world around you. You will find Celtic knots everywhere. They have such a harmonic feel to them. I find them stunningly beautiful. They always remind me of something ethereal and otherworldly, and I feel myself drawn to Celtic knots a lot. There are of course different kinds of knots, which I will talk about later on, but if I were to divide the Celtic patterns into two, I would say there's knots and then there's spirals, and both represent different things. Knots usually have neither a beginning nor an end, which is quite essential because it in a way can represent exactly this. Something that is a process or a cycle. For example, the cycle of life, the endlessness in nature, because you know the seasons, one season comes after the other and there's not really an end to that. Or if you look at a tree that grows and then drops its acorns, and then the tree dies and decays, and from it, the soil where the tree has decayed, a new tree can grow from the acorns. So it's like all cycles. Something that you will also often find is the symbol of Trinity, which also has loads of different interpretations. It can stand for the elements water, fire and earth, but it can also represent past, present and future, because 3 is kind of like a magical number, especially for the Celts. It's a lot about that number in general, because all the big principles are usually 3. If you look at also mythology, it's something that dates back into the most of ancient times. Most of the time there's 3. You will find that number a lot in literature as well. The 3 goddesses of fate, both in Greek and Norse mythology. The 3 witches in Macbeth. There's a saying in German even that's kind of about that if something fails twice, it's gonna be alright the 3rd time. Then there's also the Trinity of mind, body and spirit. But of course, another Trinity is the Holy Trinity as seen in the Christian Church, the Father, the Son and the Holy Spirit. Or something that's more on the pagan side, and especially in Rica side, the Trinity of female energy. You have the maiden, the mother and the crone, the 3 stages of a woman's life. There is a lot that they can represent. They are a reminder that the spirit is eternal and timeless. If you think about it and if you look at your thoughts, there is no time in your head. Your mind can show you very vivid images from your memory, from your past, but it can also show you images of the future. I'm not meaning this in an oracle kind of way. It can be something as easy as when you have anxiety and you're making up a vision of what the future is gonna be like. And then something else that you guys will probably already know is the Tree of Life. If you compare it to this like newer and shinier tree, you can definitely tell that it has lost a lot of shine, but fear not friends, like it can be completely restored and it's not that hard actually. It hints at the world tree Yggdrasil, which is the tree that connects the realms, but it can also be seen as an oak. The Celts loved oaks because it was the only tree that could withstand a lightning bolt. Then we have the love knot. If you look closely, you can see that it consists of at least one heart. Most of the times it's two hearts, but sometimes it's just one. Whenever you can find a heart within a Celtic knot, even if it's a very stylized heart, it is usually a lover's knot. And this also represents the ties and the connection you have to this other person, because if two souls find one another, they, like you, entwine with this person, and your feelings interlace and your habits interlace. You become one, but you're still two individuals, if you know what I mean. So this is kind of what it represents, and also represents the connections you have with somebody else. And it doesn't necessarily have to be something that is related to love. It can also be something that emphasizes a very strong bond of friendship. Then we have the fivefold knot, and for this I have something very special to show you guys. Yes, Guinea, that's my agenda. It is. He knows. So this is my agenda, and it is graced with a fivefold Celtic knot. That was originally an earring, but I am somebody who really loves to repurpose things when they're pretty, and I made this into a clasp for my agenda because I need more Celtic knots in my life. This represents the root system of an oak tree, and as I said earlier, the oak was a very powerful tree in Celtic mythology because of its strength. Even nowadays, oak wood is said to be one of the stronger woods. Like, if you have an oak table, it will probably last you a lifetime and a few generations more. And it stands for strength, like inner strength and composure, which I found to be very fitting for an agenda. So that's why I put it there. And last but not least, we also have the triskel, which is a symbol that actually consists of spirals. And spirals in Celtic history represent dealing with competition in a way, but also progress. Because originally the triskel yes, I know, I'm at it, don't stress me. So originally the triskel did not consist of three spirals meeting in the middle, but of three legs meeting in the middle. It looked something like this, and it represents action and activeness, but also passiveness, because you have the legs on the outer side, which stand for, you know, something's moving, something's literally going on. And then you have the center that is somewhat restless and stiff and calm. And it's all about the principle, as I already said, the progress, because for progress you need a good balance between activeness and passiveness, and you can be very active and achieve things, but you can also be very passive and still achieve things, and it's all about finding the right in between. But it also reminds us to kind of balance things out. So the passiveness can also stand for, after you've reached the peak of the mountain, you stop to enjoy the view instead of just rushing down or enjoying the harvest of your work. So basically, action, we do something, and the universe responds, which is the passiveness about it, because you do something and you're waiting for something to happen, and the thing happens and then you enjoy it, and yeah, harmonic balance between the two of them. Understanding this makes understanding the triskel and its meaning a lot easier, because the triskel represents just that. It means dealing with competition and progress, but also progress within ourselves and reflecting on the soul, and the balance between activity and being passive. And then lastly, there is the so-called sailor's knot, which is a very basic pattern. It looks a little bit like usually two strands being entwined, kind of like a piece of rope. It was often used on rings or as a gift for people who were newlywed, or also for friendship. It's all about very strong connections between two people, being family, friends, lovers, anything. So this is what it kind of represents, and it's a very basic pattern that you will be able to find since Roman Empire times. So even the Romans had the sailor's knot in in their mosaics and artworks. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know which knot is your favorite, and if you have any questions you can also ask, because of course like this video was very condensed, and in a way I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm going to see you guys very soon. Bye!